This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Blessings and good fortune, everybody. Glad to be back with you on a Thursday. It's a special Thursday. It is, with Bitcoin hitting its all-time high last night in the wee hours, as it were. We're coming at you from 97.7 FM KCYP, The City, terrestrial radio here in McAllen, Texas. We're coming from the Creative Incubator here in McAllen. Yeah, we're going out on YouTube. We're going out on Facebook. We're going out on TuneIn Radio and Radio Garden. Those are two apps, right? You can hear radio stations all throughout the world. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this, whether it be now live or it be in the future when you're doing your thing around town, driving around, listening to this. Thank you very much. Now, we just witnessed history, ladies and gentlemen. Now, just before the show, Bitcoin was at $111,000 per coin. Last night it hit 112, all-time high. Now, I don't expect, and I hope that it does not stay this low. Yes, I said low at the all-time high, new all-time high. And speaking in the sense of cycles, it's low, meaning we expect things to get hotter, we expect things to get higher, and we expect things to get better in the Bitcoin crypto world. Now, if you're looking at all other assets, which, really won't be able to compare with Bitcoin, but I'll go there. $33.28 for an ounce of silver, $3,305 for an ounce of gold. And your average mortgage rate, and these are the predatory rates, right? 6.89 for a 30-year and 6.08% for a 15-year mortgage. Mortgage meaning from a French term, engaging with death. A mortgage. You're just, it's killer. It's very much something the bankers like because it siphons resources, life, and well-being from people like you and me. That's why the bankers like it. Is that a little dark? Yes, it is, but so are they. Now, this coming from Bitcoin.com, Bitcoin ETF's rally hits day 6 with $609 million inflow. $609 million are on these exchange-traded funds, okay? ETFs. So this Bitcoin ETF raked in $609 million on Tuesday, marking the 6th consecutive day of inflows. So for 6 days, it wasn't losing any money. Nobody was pulling their money out. Or if so, it certainly didn't register on the huge scale of inflows. So people, and this doesn't just cover retail, industrial, retail, and governmental is all included in this, right? So, wow, I'm telling you what, I know that for my retirement, I can go into a subsection of investment funds where I can go into an ETF and, get in exposure to Bitcoin, they call it, because it's not real Bitcoin. You don't have real Bitcoin. It's all, denominated in dollars, and it's just following the squiggly lines. And, it's to me, it's much better than, the NASDAQ or Fortune 500 or anything like that. Because, again, remember, no asset since 2009 has outperformed Bitcoin in any given year, ever. 2009, 2025, only one is Bitcoin. You have money in Bitcoin, and I'm not saying the dollar is money, it's fiat, right? Bitcoin is the money. And if you have real Bitcoin, you are the banker. It's beautiful, beautiful. So BlackRock's IBIT was once again the heavyweight. Yeah. See, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is an exchange-traded fund that does not trade in Bitcoin. Okay? They don't trade in Bitcoin. Everything is in dollars. Everything is denominated in a fiat currency, a shyster currency, a currency that not only is without value, but a currency that is hurting you and me. It's not something that will help us in any way other than, well, hey, that's the current system we're in, right? So that's the paradigm that we're dealing with here. So with the Bitcoin, hey, Sue, good to see you. Hey, Dad, Jim, glad you can make it. So what we're really looking at here is the fact that we are trying to straddle two systems. The fiat monetary system that we've been in since 1913, when they put the stranglehold on the American people, and this new burgeoning technology, they call it digital gold, whatever you want to call it. But what it really is freedom. And for that reason, they, meaning the bankers, the shysters, they do not want you and I to have them. They don't want us having Bitcoin. So I'm looking in the chat here and I don't see anybody. Renee, please tell me if something pops up or if anybody makes a comment there in the Restream. Restream is the program we use to broadcast up to 5, and that's what I'm paying for anyway, up to 5 different venues, meaning, YouTube, Facebook, all those, right? So I'm getting the comments, or better said, because I'm not seeing that because we can't both get in Restream, but I'm getting the comments on the screen over behind the camera where Renee is sitting and Juan. Hey, Juan.
Hi.
So, yeah. So they are there, the producers of the show for now. I mean, this is Joe Martinez's studio, but these guys are great, man. Helping out all the time. Thank you, guys. And they can see the comments. So throw the comments, let them rip. Let questions, comments, and discussion points rip, because Renee will be there to look at it on the Restream. But for whatever reason, Facebook is doing its thing against us. It's not showing on the Bitcoin Otter or the Christopher Ott page. Notwithstanding, we're going to get your comments through Restream. And all you got to do is whatever you're looking at it on, you throw your comment in and it'll pop up in Restream. So what I'm getting at is this. These people like BlackRock, and I mean these people in the pejorative term. BlackRock is something that, they don't want you, they don't like you, they just want to, suck you dry and throw you away. That's why they have these exchange traded funds. One of the reasons, right? Because they'll get people who are afraid of learning something new. Bitcoin is not difficult, ladies and gentlemen. If I can do it, you can do it. It's not difficult. It's just new for many people. So instead of going into Bitcoin and then having to maybe bring that out into fiat currency to buy a house, a car, whatever, they don't want to do that. So they're just going to expose themselves to Bitcoin. They have so much trust in the U.S. sham dollar. They have so much trust in it that they're willing to expose themselves, their dollars, to Bitcoin, but not really buy the Bitcoin. And then you have the other extreme, Michael Saylor, right? So he will buy nothing else but Bitcoin. The guy's a billionaire, MIT grad, very smart, right? He could buy Manhattan real estate. He's like, why? Why? I got to worry about insurance. I got to worry about weather. I got to worry about tenants. I got to worry about natural disasters. I got to worry about all kinds of stuff. But if I have Bitcoin, I got Bitcoin. It's going to outperform Manhattan real estate over time, every time. So Grayscale is also in there. Remarkably, no outflows were reported across 12 Bitcoin ETFs. The 12. Apparently, there's only 12 exchange-traded funds for Bitcoin, and no outflows. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to hit what Raoul Paul calls the banana zone. The banana zone, ladies and gentlemen. It's, from what I understand, this is only my second bull run. In my first bull run, I was a deer in the headlights. I had no clue what was going on. And now I'm slightly better, but still not an expert. But this guy, Raoul Paul, P-A-L, and is his last name. So he, one second for a little bit of Java. He, I guess, coined the term banana zone, and he gives you a very good assessment of what happens when you correlate, and others have done this, but he does a really good job of articulating this. The M2 money supply. So M2 money supply, to my understanding, which is superficial, is the extra money. So there are businesses, there are people, there are entities, governments, and so forth that have money that has not been allocated to a certain place or a certain asset. That is the liquid supply of money around the world. That's what M2 measures. Now, what guys like Raoul Pal have figured out is that when this M2 money supply rises, the Bitcoin trails it by 10 to 12 weeks. Okay. And if I had done this, I should have done this, but I could have put a chart here. So just imagine this was a chart. The M2 money supply is up here, and that happened like 10 or 12 weeks ago. And now the Bitcoin's over here. So the Bitcoin's got a run to go to catch that M2 money supply. And very importantly, it also follows on the way down. Okay. So we'll get into this a little bit further as we go into this bull run. So what I want to do is I want to learn and then teach that, pass that learning on to you, because what's going on is this. When you put your hard-earned money or fiat currency into these bullish cryptos, they're going to go. They're going to pop. But the trick is when to get out. Nobody can nail the top. I mean, the top, the very second that Bitcoin goes up to its all-time high, and then it goes down again for 4 years. Nobody's going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to do that. So you have to set goals in the beginning. Hey, listen, if I get, and this is with crypto, I mean, if you're talking about something like the stock market, 10x, which is 1,000%, right? So 100% is 1x, right? Doubling your money, right? So 10x for crypto is fairly conservative. Now, if you go with that, you go into your investments and say, hey, when I 10x these investments, any of these investments, I'm out. What you've done is you've made it so that you can get out without emotion. If you stick to your guns, right? If you stick to your determination and your own numbers, because you make them up, right? I mean, who am I? I don't want your money. I don't want you to even entrust me with your money. I don't want any of that. I would just like to pass on what I'm learning, which is this: set the goal before the trade, and then when you get out, you here's a rule of thumb: you pull out 90%. Let's say you get your 10x. So whatever you buy, what did we have? We had going T-Fuel. We have, these are our favorite ones, right? XCN, right? Onyx Coin. Let's say it goes up 10x. Boom. That's your trigger. You've hit your trigger. You know it. You go in, you change those back to whatever you want to do. If you're on an exchange, you can go to your bank account. If you're on, you don't use exchange, use DEXs, decentralized exchanges. You can bring it into a stable coin, which mirrors the US dollar, and put it into your wallet. Okay, so you're still in the cryptoverse, but you're not in that particular asset that just made you 1,000% gains, right? This is possible, ladies and gentlemen. I don't promise anything. I'm not promising anything, not in this bull market or any other bull market. What I'm saying is it is potential. I've seen it happen. I have not yet because I got in at the tail end of the bull run in 2021, and not knowing anything about cryptos, I thought it was just going to continue. No, it's cyclic. And unfortunately for me, it's a 4-year cycle. So it's taken me 4 years to get to the point where I was, and it's even early, in this bull run. But I'm learning all the time. But I can tell you this: if you don't get out at your goal, then you're just going to do what they call the round trip, meaning you've put this money in, and depending where in the bull market you put it in, because if you put it in while it's raging, you're going to buy at a high price. And then if it hits its all-time high and it goes back down, it's going down for 4 years. And you're not going to sell it if you put all that money in. I'm round tripping Theta right now, right? I'm round tripping, I can't remember what other one, but I was mainly into Theta. And Theta was up to like $16, I think it was $14. And I was buying it thinking, wow, I can get it at this. It's going to go up to 100. No, it didn't. I think the all-time high was around 16 or 17, and I round tripped it, meaning I wasn't going to sell the asset, because you don't lose until you sell. I didn't really lose. I just had to wait. So now I'm waiting for Theta to get back up to near its all-time highs, because that's where I bought it. I still believe in the project. I love the project, but I didn't sell it, and I didn't make any money on it. I'm a loser as far as Theta goes, but it's a winner, so I'm going to stick with it. Now, this you can avoid by presetting your goals in the bull market. you can tell yourself, I want to even go 2x. I don't know the potential for this project. I'm willing to double my money or quadruple my money on this trade. And when I do, I'm taking 90% out. Why do you leave the 10%? Because, man, if it goes crazy, if it really goes crazy, you're still in there with 10%. You still made a ton of money, or maybe not a ton, depending on how much you invested, right? Man, you invest $50, you might get 150, 200, 300 back. That's great. That's great. But we're talking percentages. So maybe you take out 100, 500%. Wow, that's great, right? But you leave that 10% of your original investment in there, and now you're in for the long ride. It could go down into the crapper and you lost that 10%. You're still a winner because you got 90% out at your goal, right? You're still a winner. But if that takes off and you're 10% in, wow. Not only that, it gives this to you. It gives you the ability in some of these long-term projects like XRP, it gives you the ability to stay in, because one of these days it might just go to where some of these crazy people say it's going to go, which is thousands. I've even heard it said that unless it's in 3 figures, meaning hundreds of dollars, it really won't perform the way it's designed to perform. That's what I've heard. Now, XRP is like $2.40 something right now, $2.40. So you be the deciding factor, just like with news. You be the arbiter of truth in your own mind. Don't let those rats, and we'll get to those rats in a minute, don't let those rats in the media tell you anything, literally anything. It'll kill you. Cointelegraph. Trump's crypto czar David Sachs says stablecoin bill is going to pass. Now, stablecoin, again, a stablecoin will keep your crypto stable in a US dollar. Alex, good to see you. Will keep your crypto in a stable environment, meaning, it'll mirror the dollar. It'll act like a US dollar inside of the blockchain technology, so that you can go into and out of trades pretty quickly using that stable coin. And this guy says, this David Sachs guy, we have every expectation now that it's going to pass. Sachs told CNBC, wow, what an outfit they are, on May 21, following a key procedural vote that saw 15 Democrats join Republicans to clear the filibuster threshold. See, even Democrats can see the truth once in a while. I don't like Republicans either, but I just felt like saying that. The Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Genius Act. That's what it's called. Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act is the most advanced federal effort yet to establish a legal framework for dollar-pegged digital assets. Sachs said the bill could trigger trillions of dollars in demand for U.S. treasuries by unlocking stablecoin growth under clear rules. Now, I don't know, full transparency here, I do not know how stablecoins are connected with U.S. treasuries, but perhaps it's the same as if you hold U.S. dollars that you're assisting U.S. treasuries. So I don't know if it's that close. I don't know if it's a tie that brings a betterment to the U.S. Treasury. I'm not sure, but he says we already have over 200 billion in stablecoins. It's just unregulated. Well, hopefully they'll fix that. Well, yeah, I guess it's stablecoin. They're still bank assets. Texas House passes strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. Ladies and gents, if you're a Texan like me, good news. Authored by State Senator Charles Schwertner, establishes a Bitcoin reserve that is managed by the state's comptroller. The legislation allows the comptroller to invest in any cryptocurrency with a market cap above $500 billion over the previous 12-month period. Now, if Abbott signs this into law, Texas will be the second U.S. state to allow for the creation of a cryptocurrency reserve. New Hampshire became the first to do so on May 6. Wow. Thank God for Texas, I'll tell you. Now, I'm seeing Alex, you're popping in. Sue, you're popping in and out. Are you guys having trouble? Are they kicking you out of Facebook? Is that what's going on here? I'm seriously thinking that we might be short-lived on Facebook, because we got some really good stuff here that will benefit you in knowing, and that's exactly why Facebook does not want you to know. So on my display, I have nothing for the Christopher Ott broadcast, and I'm getting on the Bitcoin Otter broadcast. Alex popping in and out, and Sue, you're popping in and out. I don't know if you guys can make a comment or not on the Bitcoin Otter one or even the Christopher Ott feed, but I'll tell you what, these people are messing with us. I guess that's their job. They're criminals. So
you got them say, I see it as Casual Thursday at the studio. And another comment that was from Alejandro.
Alex, yes.
And from Mike is the connection that gets is good on their end.
Okay, was that Mike Zilkowski?
Mike Miguel.
Miguel?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. I'm glad that you are able. Yes, it is Casual Thursday. It is probably 100 some degrees out there, and I got my shorts on. Be thankful that I do have shorts on and not just my chones. You know what I mean? So. Oh, Corinne, good to see you. So Austin Campbell on X says this. The empire lobbies back. This is him on X, Austin Campbell. As I had predicted, I'm hearing the bank lobby is panicked about stablecoins and specifically the ability to pay rewards or interest. Ladies and gents, this asset, this electronic asset, okay, you have USDT, you have now Ripple USD, you have Tether, a lot of these stable coins, and all they do is just create a bond between the digital blockchain space and the US dollar. So the Federal Reserve note, better said. So these stable coins are a stable way to stay with the value of the dollar, right? So apparently there are places now that are paying dividends on your stablecoin deposits. Wait a minute, isn't that what banks do, Otter? Hell yeah. So the banks are pissed. Why? Here it goes. This guy, Austin Campbell, says to the politicians, the banks want you to protect their cartel so they can keep screwing your voters, says Austin Campbell, which is exactly right. The banks are an international criminal cartel. That is the deep state, ladies and gentlemen. The Illuminati, right? The Khazarian Mafia. That's what it is. Banksters. Bankers rely on fractional reserve. This is, again, Austin Campbell. Bankers rely on fractional reserve practices. Okay, let me give you a quick rundown of fractional reserve practices. Now, banks, unlike you and me, banks can loan out. Okay, I think legally, if I'm remembering this, legally they can loan out, I want to say like 10%. If they have, yeah, they can loan out 10% more than what they actually have, legally. Now, during the 2008 scandal, they were loaning out up to like 70% of what they didn't have, of what they had. But you loan out that, but you don't have it. You don't have it. That's called money creation. When we get a loan for a car or a house, whatever, and that money pops up, boom, in the bank account somewhere, somehow, with someone, that's money creation. Literally. So banks not having it on their ledger would lend it out. That's what created the housing crisis of 2008. Now, they do that because, one, they can easily cheat. Two, they don't have to have our money to make money off of it. That's just a fact. So when you challenge that crime, that racket, when you challenge the racket with stable coins in a digital space that people hold, because remember, if it's in your wallet, you're the bank. You got one of the, hopefully you have a hard wallet. You are the bank. What you got, Renee?
According to Susan, the BC's $111,201.
Bitcoin one, yeah, right now? Is that what it's at now?
Yeah, that's what it's at right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's that one actually popped up on the Bitcoin Otter. That, I'll tell you what, this is awesome, ladies and gents. Why? Well, again, things that I've learned from bull runs, cycles prior. The altcoins, the alternative coins to Bitcoin. Any other coin is an altcoin. I know you Ethereum people, you love ETH, but it's not gonna, in my opinion, I don't think it's gonna beat the Bitcoin. So what happens is Bitcoin pumps first, and check out your YouTube and you can get videos of time frames and so forth. And the altcoins lag, but when they lag, then they outperform the Bitcoin. Okay, so I'll keep you posted on that. When I learn something more, I'll throw it out there for you. But 111,201. Wow, that's awesome. So, yeah, like I said, it hit 112 in the wee hours today. This is from Zero Hedge. Trump admin blocks Harvard from enrolling international students, requires current foreign students to transfer or lose legal status. Ladies and gentlemen, the gauntlet has been dropped. Slammed down onto the table. Let me explain this from a patriot perspective. We sacrifice our time, in some cases blood, for money. This money is then confiscated from us by the IRS. The IRS is the Gestapo wing of the Federal Reserve System. Now, that money confiscated from us is put into a fund that only pays, or attempts to pay the interest on the federal debt of ours to the banksters. It can't pay it, but they confiscate it from us nonetheless. Now, then they give our shyster politicians a loan in our name because we are the collateral. They get a loan. The thieves in Congress and all that government get a loan based on the ability of us to pay it, repay it, right? And then with that money, they give it out. And they are very, very liberal in that giving. Part of where they give it to are private and public schools. One of the biggest recipients of your money, even though you didn't go there, you don't want to go there, is Harvard. They have, I think, I covered this a few weeks ago, I think they have like $40-50 billion in some reserve somewhere, just hidden away to do whatever it is they want to do, to skim off the top, whatever. Now, one of the things that they're finding out is with this whole federal, international student thing. I mean, remember, these are people coming in on a student visa. So they're given background checks and so forth. But Harvard doesn't care because if you give their endowment a certain amount of money, well, they're going to let your foreign student study at Harvard. Yes. What you got, Renee?
Currently, Fed is up 8.19% now, but hit it 10% up today. It's currently at 87 cents.
Awesome. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. James is watching. Good to see you, James. So Fed is one of those again. It's an altcoin, but 8.19% is something. It's better than what we've been seeing in the doldrums, right? Thank you. So a foreign exchange student or an international student on a student visa, like one of our presidents was, because he's not actually a U.S. citizen. One of our presidents came in on a student visa. I think you can all guess who that person is. I'll use the word person because children may be watching. According to a letter sent to the university by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, which they promptly shot over to the New York Times, the university has 72 hours to hand over requested information. I don't know what that information is. I don't know. But apparently there's requested information that the DHS is wanting, and they're not giving it to them, I guess. In April, DHS threatened to block Harvard from enrolling international students if the university refused to hand over detailed records about the student body containing relevant information. So there's some criminals in these student visa holders, and Harvard is protecting them because they're their kind of people, if you get what I mean. Those criminals are their type of people. Well, because they vote the way they want them to. And if you ever need some dirty deeds done dirt cheap, that's what these people are for. It is a privilege to have foreign students to attend Harvard University, not a guarantee, Noam wrote. You better believe that. The United States government understands that Harvard University relies heavily on foreign student funding from over 10,000 foreign students to build and maintain their substantial endowment. Oh, low blow, Christy. That was awesome. So she put the endowment thing in there. Their endowment is huge, ladies and gentlemen. That's basically a slush fund. It's been billions of dollars. You know, it's a private university. And they've been, skimming off of this reputation that they're the best. They're not the best. Who knows what the best is? But I'm sure it's not an American school. How can you be good when you're crooked? Anyway, this is good news. ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Agency, just so you know, 3 things that are legal. Okay. This agency is unnecessary. Anyway, ATF launches new era of reform, encourages revoked gun dealers to reapply, as I had hoped. Well, perhaps not completely, because I had hoped that the ATF would be disbanded by now. But the most notable of these changes is that the ATF has invited these federal firearms licensees who had their licenses revoked by the Biden administration's zero tolerance policy to reapply and have their licenses restored. This change is apparently in accordance with President Trump's executive order protecting Second Amendment rights. Okay, ATF, get your ugly, jackbooted, thug clutches off of the liver of firearms. Okay? These are our rights. ATF, you didn't give them to us. God gave them to us. And we are keeping them. Now, we're at the midpoint. So I'll remind everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're in the vehicle, be it live or later on. We are going out on 97.7 KCYP, the city in McAllen, Texas. Broadcasting from our studio here in the McAllen Creative Incubator. We're going out on Facebook, which is increasingly stymieing us, increasingly throttling us, and shadow banning us. Had to say that. YouTube, TuneIn Radio, and Radio Garden. Those 2 last ones are apps. Supreme Court. Children of illegal aliens or tourists are not U.S. citizens. You don't say, Supreme Court. You don't say. On the very day Donald Trump became president, again, he signed an executive order prospectively eliminating birthright citizenship for children born to aliens unlawfully present in the United States. Immediately, lawsuits were filed in a half dozen jurisdictions across the country challenging this order. Could you imagine the deep state losing birthright citizenship as one of their pegs in their crooked environment? Wow. Birthright citizenship is conventionally understood to apply to any child born in the United States, regardless of the immigration status of that child's parents. This view is based on the common law principle of jus soli. Hey, any of you Bitcoin Otter listeners out there resonate with jus soli? I think you do. Which says, American soil, which is said to be incorporated in the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment. This understanding of the Citizenship Clause, however, despite its prevalence in academia and political commentary, is based on a mistaken and incomplete reading of controlling Supreme Court precedents. Okay. In fact, birthright citizenship, as provided for in the Citizenship Clause, as that clause has been authoritatively construed by the Supreme Court. Okay. So all you lovers of the Supreme Court, here you go. It's possessed only by children born into the United States to at least one parent who is lawfully residing in the United States. Ratified in the aftermath of the Civil War with the aim of remedying the injustices of the Dred Scott decision, the 14th Amendment guaranteed citizenship to all persons born. Listen to this. This is it for this subject, but it's very significant. In the United States, all persons born in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Now, illegal aliens are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. In fact, they avoid the jurisdiction. That's why they enter illegally. That's why they're called legally, essentially, illegal aliens. They're not illegal people. Their status in the United States is illegal by default of their illegal entry. I hope we're getting all this, okay? James, looks like you're getting kicked out. I don't know. Hey, Zaya, good to see you. Love you, buddy. You too, Johnny. Glad to see you. Those are my grandsons out there watching the Bitcoin Otter show. So the fact of the matter is, if you come in illegally, you can't be a citizen by law. Now, has this occurred? Of course it's occurred, okay? The people who want to kill the United States of America, that really don't care if you die or not either, they want this. They want anyone who's born on American soil to be an American citizen. Why? Because their machinations on the back end of NGOs robbing us, taxpayers, you American taxpayers, they are promoting, they are feeding literally with food all of the hordes of illegal aliens that came in with Diaper Joe's administration, right? That's a whole different thing, right? With his cognitive, we all knew that he was, done, toast mentally, but they were lying to the TV watchers out there. So anyway, I digress. Now, the Supreme Court has weighed in on it, and as the correct legal reading of this says, if you are born to illegal aliens or even someone on a visiting visa, you are not a United States citizen. That's, ladies and gentlemen, this is why, okay, Donald Trump says he wants Americans to have more babies so that America will transcend the generation gap. We'll just keep going. But Hillary Clinton got on a video saying she wants all of the illegal aliens to breed. She doesn't want us because she is who she is and she is what she is. So, traveling on, top Doge official details discovery of shocking voter fraud, tip of the iceberg. Ladies and gentlemen, we were overthrown in 2020. If you don't believe that, that's fine. You don't have to. But the facts are coming to light. To light, I say. Now, this guy, he's a Doge official, Antonio Gracias, a private equity investor and senior official in the Department of Government Efficiency, revealed the startling methodology used by Doge staff to uncover voter fraud involving illegal immigrants. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, if you didn't believe this before, there is emerging and burgeoning evidence that one of the reasons, it's multifaceted, but one of the reasons why the criminals in our government want illegal immigrants storming our borders and they're flying them over our beloved Border Patrol. One of the reasons why they do that is because they figure out ways to get these people to vote. And, they don't even need them to vote when you have mail-in ballots. So they use these names and they're given social security numbers to siphon off your social security money so that when you're old, you get to die and these people get to vote. And they'll probably have you voting Democrat in your death. I know. You may get that little thing in your throat there, that the pre-vomit. I know. It burns. I know. But that's what they're going to try and do if they can get away with it. Now, Gracias elaborated on how some individuals, including illegal immigrants, obtained the ability to vote. They legally secured social security numbers, legally meaning not in reality, but according to Diaper Joe's administration. So the Biden administration allowed them to do this, right? They legally secured social security numbers through the process we talked about last time, asylum or some special program or whatever I'm quoting. They were given an associate number by filing a 765, I guess that's some form number, and getting authorization. They registered to vote. These illegal aliens did. And they actually voted in 2020 and or 24. When asked about the scope of the election integrity issue, Gracias was frank while exercising caution. My opinion is that this is the tip of the iceberg. How big the iceberg is, I don't know. And I don't want to speculate because I think it would be not what I think we would do at this moment. I think we'll have more data over time. I'll tell you what, Mr. Gracias, you are right when you think it's big, and you are right when you think it's an iceberg, and you are right when you say there is massive amounts of evidence to tell us that we were had in 2020. 81 million votes, my arse. Gateway Pundit. Oh, here's something. Here's something filthy and disgusting. His name's Diddy. So this is the Sean Diddy Combs trial. This is on Gateway Pundit. Rapper Kid Cudi, yeah, he self-applies that, apparently. Rapper Kid Cudi testifies that disgraced mogul broke into his house and set fire to his car. Ladies and gentlemen, this is who Diddy is. But let's not lose focus on why he is who and what he is. Diddy, like everyone else in that racket, is owned. Don't get the idea that a guy like Diddy or a guy like Epstein, because this is the same thing. Same thing. Diddy, Epstein, same. principal. They're executives in the same corrupt corporation, Blackmail Inc. So Diddy and his, scam and scandal and racket was just like Epstein. How do I mean that? They were, in effect, blackmail factories where they would manufacture blackmail against people that hold some sort of influence over society. Judges, politicians, bankers, you name it. If these people have some sort of influence, they were, at least the attempt was made to bring them to a Epstein Island locale or a Diddy freak-off party, And then, and here's something interesting. I don't have a video of it. Maybe I'll put that out one of these days. But there's a bodyguard. I don't know if it was Diddy's bodyguard or somebody else's bodyguard, but this guy didn't drink and didn't do drugs. So he was the only guy sober at some of these parties, and he's able to give credible accounts, testimony of what went on there, and it's disgusting. It is disgusting what was going on with human beings that Diddy was promoting because it was all recorded and stored away in blackmail files, so that these people, be they artists, be they movie stars, musicians, whatever, or even politicians or whatever, went to these parties, they're compromised. And once they're compromised, you own them. And once you own them, you get to do whatever you want to do. So we'll harken back to the whole thing where they're giving illegal aliens social security numbers so they can steal from us and get benefits. You own that person because that person knows if they don't vote for you and your criminal cartel, that they're not going to receive benefits anymore, right? And don't think that this wasn't done with the help of Republicans. How could Democrats do all this without the help of Republicans? So there's one of the big beefs I have with Republicans. They didn't stop this. They didn't stop it. In fact, many of them were complicit. Anyway, prosecutors have charged Diddy with using his fame, fortune, and many businesses to run a racketeering scheme in which he controlled Cassie, that's Cassie Ventura, and many others using violence and threats. Diddy seemed tense. Oh, really? Was the pucker factor in effect, Diddy? As Kid Cootie, testified in a seemingly candid and understated manner. Yeah, man, when something that despicable is done to you, you got nothing more to lose. Yeah, they might try to kill this Kid Cootie. They might try to kill him. That's definitely on the table. And speaking of that, how about that shot across the bow by our president on Truth Social earlier this week? He called out the Clinton body count. Had a video, I don't know, it was a couple minutes long. I don't know, have you seen it? If you don't have Truth Social, it was thrown out on X. Basically, it's some new age journalist putting together videos of the people that have died, okay, mysteriously, under the watch of the Clintons. So that is very interesting for Trump, Donald Trump, the Trumpster, the man in charge, to put something so blatant and slap you in the face, Hillary, and your cuck husband, slap him in the face with this obvious corruption. How many are in that? I don't know. We don't know. But wow, man, when you talk about candid, when you talk about letting things roll and letting things go, that was amazing. Your president, Donald J. Trump, is exposing things in ways that many of us thought would never be exposed. Now, are there arrests? No. Honor, where are the arrests? We want to see the arrests. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to see the arrests too. But arrests are meaningless if the judge behind the bench is crooked. Right, Boasberg? Right. Right, Letitia? Right. We're going to get into Letitia's doings in a little bit. But why arrest these people? Because of double jeopardy laws, they cannot be tried again. Why arrest them now when the judicial system is broken, shattered? in any realistic comparison compared to prior generations of the judiciary in the United States. It's disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have any comments or anything out there, Renee? I'm not getting any.
No, nothing so far.
Okay. All right, guys.
They're still watching the show. The show's still on.
Cool. All right. So, and I'm seeing James is popping back in and out. So I don't know if he's getting kicked out or not. But Bruce, good to see you, Bruce. Glad you can make it. Now, I know I go on rants once in a while, but these things come to my mind for a meaning. And this whole Diddy Combs thing is just like Epstein. So here's something that is near and dear to my heart. It's controversial, ladies and gentlemen. I know, and it's deliberately so. It shouldn't be, but it is. Genocide against white South Africans, facts and numbers. This is again from the Gateway Pundit. President Trump has once again come under fire for admitting white South Africans into the United States under claims of genocide. So far, 59 white South Africans have been granted asylum in the U.S. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to make contrasts, if you want to see things realistically, we have to know the parameters. We have to know both the claims and the actual agendas of each side. Now, the claim of some of these judges that demand that we go into a prison somewhere, in the case I'm thinking of El Salvador, grab one of our deportees that has a criminal record, rapist, a murderer, drug dealer, whatever, and bring them back into the United States for due process. This due process that was never, ever used to enter them. The due process that these judges demand, because again, I'm not saying they went to, Diddy freak off parties. I'm not saying they went to Epstein Island. Okay. But something's up with these people, these judges, right? So these judges are demanding that we take back murderers, rapists, criminals of all sort into our country, import them once again. Yet they are livid over the fact that farmers in South Africa who are being genocided are given asylum in the United States. They can't stand it. They're inflamed. They're outraged. Because you see, these farmers have, in their estimation, the lack of something. What that something is called melanin. It has a lot to do with our skin tone. So since these people judge by skin tone, that can also be called racism, by the way. Since they judge by skin tone, these are immigrants they don't want. Now, there's another aspect to this. These immigrants are farmers. They have a skill. That skill means they can make money on their own. They don't need the American taxpayer. They don't need to bleed us. And they can actually contribute to society as a whole. The usual suspects hate that because if they have criminals, they can get their dirty deeds done dirt cheap, and they can use the names of all these individuals to vote. A la 2020. So they don't care about you. I'm sure that's no surprise to any Bitcoin Otter listeners. They don't care about you. They care about their criminal cartel retaining power. They can't retain power if we have immigrants come into our country that perform a service for the United States of America that actually benefit the average American. That will only strengthen the love of America for those people. They want to bring in those illegal immigrants that have their own flag, the flag of their nation, flying high in a parade somewhere in a United States city. Okay? That's who they want. You try going south to any country you want to think about with the stars and stripes and go walking through the streets. What do you think is going to happen to you? Yet, we in America, okay, we tolerate judges, we tolerate politicians, we tolerate university knuckleheads, okay, in the Department of Education that needs to go afuera. Department of Education, afuera, says Milei. Get out, out. Okay? We tolerate these people for now. And we don't understand sometimes the reason why they're doing what they're doing. They want people that hate America in America because they hate America. Or they've become so compromised by Diddy freak-off parties and Epstein Islands that they have to do whatever they have to do so that those tapes, those videos, that evidence doesn't get exposed. Am I painting the picture? Am I getting it across? I hope it's clear. And, in the words, this will date me of, I can't remember his name, but he was in a great movie. I think it was either the Escape from New York movie or the Warriors. Can you dig it? I think it was Cyrus. Might have been Cyrus. Anyway, can you dig it? Can you dig it? This is why. This is why hordes of illegal aliens were imported. They perform a service, which is murder, rape, terrorism. That's the service they perform for the usual suspects, the criminal cartel, the Khazarian mafia, whatever you want to call them. And another aspect is they can now be leveraged for voting fraud, voter fraud, election fraud, scandals, whatever you want to call it. Treason. Treason is what it is. So that's why all of these illegal people were brought in. Now, when contributing members, potential contributing members of society are brought in because of their skin color, they hate this. The usual suspects hate this. So persecution and violence, and now the word for the day of all the mainstream media criminals is ambush. Why? Because Donald Trump had the president of South Africa in the Oval Office. And he said, okay, everybody, hang on a minute. Because he knew what this guy was going to do. He knew he was going to deny and obfuscate and basically dodge the whole subject of genocide in this country. So he had the video play of stadiums full of people screaming, kill the white man, kill the Boer. Boer is the term of the Dutch people that settled South Africa 400, 500 years ago. I don't know. But they're farmers by trade. I think the world's first heart transplant was done in South Africa. There was a nuclear program in South Africa. I want to say that the CAT scan or something like that, you go in the tube and that was invented in South Africa. Very civilized was it? But now, hey Otter, you forgot about apartheid, right? No, I didn't forget about apartheid. But what I want to tell you is we didn't get the whole story on apartheid either. Okay? We really didn't. Now, I'm not going to justify any type of atrocities that have happened there. I won't even try. But the reason why apartheid existed is because you had to keep the people apart. The tribal factions in South Africa were fighting each other, killing each other, and worse. So if you keep them apart, they can become a part of the society, meaning they're not going to kill each other. So they can come work on farms and they can come work, in this place or that place. So you got to keep them separate or they're going to, they're going to hack each other to pieces. So necessarily that means there's another tribe, and that were the Boers, that they were kept apart from. So automatically apartheid was assailed by the usual suspects way back in the 80s, right? Now, why is South Africa important in my opinion? This is just me. It's this. And I'm not the first one to say this, but I definitely noticed it. It's past the critical thinking aspect, the filter, the logic test. And this is what I think. The crucible, if you will, of my thought process. What happened in South Africa is exactly what they want to happen in the United States. Why do you think they want these rapists, killers, molesters back? Because they want to turn us into South Africa. And you might think that the color of your skin will protect you now, but When you're in the majority, oh, watch out, because they're going to come after you. They will, without a doubt. They will divide us and destroy us on color of skin. They will divide us and destroy us on economic status. They will divide us and destroy us on locale. They will divide us and destroy us in any way they possibly can. Don't let them. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your lifestyle is. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care. I don't want to be divided. I want to be united, because we are the United States of America. We won't survive divided. We just won't. So that's that. Now, this is a good one. This will round out today's news. Panicked Letitia James. Oh, I hope she's panicked. Rambles through bizarre explanation for mortgage fraud. Because remember this woman, Letitia James, who committed the very same crimes that she falsified evidence of to indict, arrest Donald Trump, our president. So sweet Letitia James says she mistakenly filled out forms incorrectly. Mortgages. Remember, she said that Donald Trump used inflated valuations to receive money from a bank. And then, crime of all crimes, he paid it all back. In fact, in that process, the bank came to court, testified that, hey, we were really happy with Donald Trump's business. And, hey, Don, if you got any more, throw it our way. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. But the fact of the matter is, there was no victim. Nobody lost in the deal. She was just making stuff up. Now, how did she know? How did she know with the intricacy that she knew that particular scam, that grift? Because she did it. Because she did it. That's how she knew. She's an expert because she did it. So James is under federal investigation for alleged mortgage fraud, with a grand jury convened in Virginia to examine whether she falsified legal documents to secure favorable loan terms. She knows the scam. She's done it. The probe centers on a 2023 power of attorney document in which James declared a Norfolk, Virginia property as her principal residence, despite serving as New York's top law enforcement official and residing in Brooklyn at the time. Brooklyn is not Virginia. She knows that. How is that a mistake, Letitia? How is that a mistake? It's not. It's a crime. It's a crime. It's the very same crime of fraud that you accused our beloved president of. Yes. Now, since I said beloved, I don't want anybody, especially those TV-addled people, to think that I worship Donald Trump. I do not. I worship Jesus Christ as King and Savior. Donald Trump, I admire. I admire his moxie. I admire him coming off to the despotic South African president. I admire that. I really do, especially the way the 4 a.m. talking points that get shipped off to the mainstream media where use the word ambush. And if you've seen a montage yet, they just went off. Oh, Donald Trump ambushed South African president, whatever. He ambushed him. This is all they have, ladies and gentlemen, because they are experts in ambush. Just like Letitia is expert in fraud, these people are expert in ambush. And the thing that frustrates them most about Donald Trump is they can't ambush him because he won't back down. And you know what else? He won't back down in his representation of you and me. He won't back down in his love for his country. And that's why they hate him so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the hour. Wow, this went fast. I really thank you for watching, whether it's now live, whether it's, in the future, back to the future, if you will, whatever it is. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in, sharing. This is a ministry for me, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. I don't make any. In fact, I lose money on this. The Bitcoin Otter Private Membership Association is real, but we haven't made any money. So I'm not looking for your money. I appreciate your attention. Thank you for watching. God bless you and your families. God bless America. And may you stay safe and secure in these blessed United States of America. Bitcoin Otter out.